In the headlines, gunmen killed Redeemed Christian Church of God RCCG pastor abducts 7 church members during vigil in Ogun. Police rescue kidnapped victim in Rivers State. NSCDC rescues woman locked up by father for 5 years in Jigawa. And on the foreign scene, Russia attacks Ukraine's Kiev as fierce battles rage in Donetsk. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Abdurrahman Umar. Thanks for joining. We begin with security as unknown gunmen on Saturday stormed a branch of the Redeemed Christian Church of God RCCG in Abule Ori in Obafemi, Ode local government area of Ogun State, killing the pastor and abducting 7 worshippers. The commander of the Ogun State government-owned security outfit, Sojafe Co, Soji Gonzalo, who confirmed the incident, said his officers rescued the 7 church members and killed one of the kidnappers. During the operation, Director of Information and Public Relations of Sojafe, Maruf Yusuf, in a statement he made available to newsmen in Abeokuta, said the incident occurred at about 12 a.m. on Saturday, July 1st. According to him, officers of the Corps were charged to go after the suspect and ensure that the kidnapped victims were rescued unhurt, stating that the officers swung into action immediately. Gonzalo further disclosed that the efforts of the Corps yielded a positive result as the 7 victims were rescued unhurt, while one of the kidnappers was killed and many of the suspects sustained serious injury during exchange of gunfire. He added that the joint team of the police and the Sojafe Corps are after the fleeing suspected kidnappers to capture them alive. He disclosed that the body of the dead kidnapper had been deposited in a nearby morgue. The Rivers State Police Command says it has rescued a kidnapped victim at Imoha local government area of the state. The Commissioner of Police, Umui Polycarp, revealed this during a press briefing at the State Police Headquarters in Port Harcourt. The Commissioner revealed that operatives of the command, alongside members of the Imoha Vigilante Security, tracked down a kidnapped victim to a forest off the Choba Bridge along the east-west road, where she was rescued while the kidnappers fled through the river. The rescued victim stated that the kidnap occurred on the 26th June along Salvation Ministry Road, adding that a black-colored Lexus 330 Jeep was also snatched by the abductors. The police boss noted that while operatives go in pursuit of the recovery of the vehicle, the victim has been reunited with his family, adding that efforts are ongoing to track and arrest the hoodlums. The police chief stated the CP said the command under his leadership is determined to fight crime to a standstill, adding that his doors are open to anyone who has credible information for the command. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC has rescued a 25-year-old woman who had been locked up by her father in a room in Jigawa State for 5 years. The development was confirmed by the Public Relations Officer, Dutse Command of the NSCDC, Adamu Shehu. For half a decade, the woman was trapped in a waking nightmare with her father, 67-year-old Garba Musa, allegedly keeping her locked up in a room that simultaneously served as her bedroom, restroom, and dining area. Safia Mustafa, a 50-year-old woman living just a few blocks away, raised the alarm, leading to the victim's rescue. Human rights activist Musbahu Basirka was among the first respondents to the distress call. It was guarded. The suspect Garba Musa and his wife, who happens to be the victim's stepmother, are now in the custody of the NSCDC for further investigation. The Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC Ocean Command says no fewer than 2 persons lost their lives in an accident that occurred on Efe Ondo Road due to speeding and brake failure. The sector commander Henry Benamisaya confirmed this in a statement made available by the command spokesperson Agnes Ogunbemi on Sunday in Oshobo. Benamisaya said the accident occurred at Ifeturu, area of Ocean State, when a vehicle with number plate BWR 909 SD suddenly lost control due to excessive speed. He said that 2 persons lost their lives when the accident happened and their remains taken away by their relatives present at the scene of the accident. According to him, motorists should desist from excessive speeding that could lead to loss of lives and properties. A 13-year-old pregnant woman has drowned in a river in Kaduna while trying to cross to the other side in local canoe. The woman, identified as Fauzia, was in the company of 4 other women who were all rescued by local divers. Trust TV's Bello Musa visited the residence of the deceased at Mokola in Kogi in the Gabi local government area of Kaduna State, from where he sent in this report.
The river is the easiest route for the people of Mokola and other communities across the river to reach home. While crossing the river, the canoe capsized with 4 persons, including women, who were rescued by local divers, who unfortunately were not able to rescue Faiza. It happened when she went to Kawo Market on Tuesday and she had to cross the river. She bought goods, and while coming back home on the canoe capsized and she died. The inability of the divers to rescue Faiza was attributed to the overwhelming impact of the river. There were 5 women on the canoe, but the local divers rescued them, but couldn't rescue her due to pressure from the water. 2 days after the canoe incident, her body was not found, leaving canoe peddlers and the local divers with no option but to launch a search for her body. Abdul Hakim Yusuf is among the 5 children left by Faiza. He was seen among the group searching for the body of his mother along the river bank. We were searching for her body in the river. I feel so bad that we are yet to find it. There is a place like an island, that is where accidents normally occur due to pressure and high waves there. Faiza's body was later found along Bansora village in River Kaduna, and she was buried according to Islamic rites. Trust TV had severally reported that communities across River Kaduna have been appealing to the authorities concerned to build a bridge for them for easy conveyance of pregnant women to hospital across the metropolis. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Enugu State government has dissolved all task forces of commercial tricycles, popularly known as Kiki, in the state till further notice. The permanent secretary in the State Ministry of Transport, Obuna Edike, announced this in Enugu after a meeting with the executives and members of the Commercial Tricycle Union. The meeting was invoked by the ministry on the sidelines of the peaceful protest held by some members of the Tricycle Union on Friday over harassment and extortion by Tricycle Task Force members operating within the Enugu metropolis. Edike said that the dissolution affected both legally and illegally constituted task forces for tricycle operators, adding that the dissolution was with immediate effect. The leadership of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC has charged members of the National Assembly to collaborate with the executive arm of government, say Nigerians expect a lot from the legislators. The party gave the charge through its national chairman Abdullahi Adamu when the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, led members of the Senate on Salah Hamid to his Kefi residence in Nasarawa State. This is according to a statement on Saturday. The APC chairman congratulated Akpabio and Jibrin Barrow on their emergence as Senate President and Deputy Senate President, which he described as a great relief to the party. Noting that contests for offices were over, he said it was time for governance. Stakeholders in the society have called on the federal government to ensure full implementation of Child Rights Act to guard against abuse and exploitation. They made the call on Saturday during a sensitization program on the life of an African child. The report.
Children are the easiest target for child traffickers because they possess less ability to understand the difference between right and wrong, and therefore vulnerable to exploitation and molestation. Stakeholders in Lagos State, however, gathered here at Ojodu area of the state to sensitize people on the right of every child in the society. The Vice Coordinator, Child Protection Network, Ololade Hector Fowobaje, speaks on how far the Lagos State government helping to protect the right of every child in the state.
The child rights law has been enacted in fact, the child protection policy has been mandated for all schools. And then the child right law has also been, lately they've told them that all schools must enforce it, So Lagos State is always there. Once the child right policy has been mandated for all school holders, that's the starting point, So when there are child protection policies in school, child protection officers, we are good to go. So Lagos State has been there. We've been working very actively with the Lagos State government.
Kudos to Lagos State government. So far, they have been doing so well. I remember way back 2016 with the Office of Public Defender under Ministry of Justice, which is Lagos State, and through the help of UNICEF, we have been able to release children from prison, from correctional centers, and from adult prison too.
Other stakeholders, however, advised that every parent should take responsibility of their child and stop entrusting children in the hands of other people, urging the government to do more in protecting the right of every child.
Monitoring their children, taking good care of their children, monitoring their faith, their movements, and when they are in school, they should be able to visit the school and know their well-being and the way the teachers are attending to their children.
Applause to Lagos State government. They are doing a lot. Like they encourage organizations, especially the NGOs and any humanitarian society, to go out, and we are somehow coming together to bring it out. So we are giving a platform whereby we could work together with both the youth and women development and other ones like that. So we are giving good platform to work on towards that effect.
Society that can be free from rape and any other assaults of children, women, and adults, so that children and everyone can live a life with a secured well-being.
The consensus here is that when a child is taken away or forced into work as houseboy or girl, used for sex, or even sold to other places, it means that such child has been abused and exploited. The law should take its natural course.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming off after the break, we take a look at why young men delay marriage. Details of this story and more to come after the break. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Here is some of the recap of our top stories. Gunmen killed Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG. Pastor abduct 7 church members during vigil in Ogun. Police rescue kidnapped victim in Rivers State. Moving on to other stories. The Emir of Gombe, Abubakar Shehu Abubakar, has led hundreds of horse riders to pay Salah homage to the State Governor Muhammadu Yahya at the Government House. The Emir's visit to the Government House is a tradition that has been upheld for decades to strengthen relationships between state governments and traditional institutions. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
These horse riders dressed in a special northern regalia depict the cultural heritage of the people of Gombe, led by the Emir, Abubakar Shehu Abubakar III. They converge on the Gombe State Government House to deliver Salah greetings to the State Governor in Wahia, who also holds the title of Ammajan Gombe. The Emir of Gombe, who is determined to preserve the cultural heritage of the emirate, urged the people to support government's development agenda.
This is what we have been doing now. You know, in the last 2 weeks, we called bikers from all over part of Africa to come and celebrate great company between horses and bikers. So this is what we have been doing to modernize, you know, the Daba and the institution. Thank you so much.
Governor Inwa said Gombe has a unique style of celebrating the Salah, and the Emir's visit will strengthen relationship with the traditional institution.
The Emir is here and all other traditional title holders are here in solidarity with the government and with the entire people of the state. We thank God that we saw the Eid al-Adha, the Eid of sacrifice, that is well celebrated, and we pray that God Almighty will stabilize this country and give the leadership, the wisdom and the determination to deliver on the needs of the people, as Nigeria is going through very hard times and very, very tumultuous times.
Paying homage to the Government House, I think, if I can remember very well, started with the coming of the colonial masters. During the colonial period, the government tries to keep a tap on the people, especially on the traditional institutions. They try to ensure that they gauge the pulse of the community by requesting or urging the traditional institution to mobilize the people in order to pay homage to the government.
Emir of Gombe's visit to the Government House marks the end of activities officially lined up to celebrate the 2023 Eid al-Adha festival in the Emirate. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Harsh economic realities are forcing many young people to have a rethink about marriage. Soon will be couples in Katsina advanced a simple reason for decision to put marriage on hold until the economic situation improves. Abdullahi Ahmadi speaks to some unmarried youth on what they think about marriage and why they delay at all. His report.
Marriage is a union voluntarily joined for life until death separate the couple. In northern Nigeria, females are married off at the age of 18 and above, and between the ages of 25 and 30 in the case of males, depending on income or social status. However, the situation seems to be changing largely due to economic and traditional factors. In fact, there seems to be a lot more to it than what one can just imagine.
The reason why youth are delayed in having marriage might not be unconnected with the current economic situation. This is the biggest reason.
Most of the youth are not unemployed, so that's why they didn't get married early.
Some blamed the situation of not getting married to some cultural disparity between families and communities.
Number one thing that family consider now is what highestly leads to the problem of late marriage concerning the situation we are in now. The first factor they look into is how is this person financially stable, meaning they are looking into the financial strength of the person, especially the man that want to marry again, not the moral strength. What we know in the olden days or in previous time is moral strength.
Marriage is a matter of time. No matter how, whether you are ready or not, if time comes, you will do it.
Commentators believed the situation will get worse and portends dangers to cultural and religious values if nothing is done to address inflation and economic inequality.
I'm yet to marry due to economic hardship being experienced in the country, and also marriage in this moment is too expensive.
Many are of the belief that to checkmate cases of rape and unwanted pregnancies among young boys and girls, government and other stakeholders must find immediate solution to address issues raised by the respondents. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Kazana.
And on the international scene, Russia has launched an overnight drone attack on Kiev after a 12-day break, with air defense system preliminarily destroying all targets on their approach. The Ukrainian capital and a number of central and eastern Ukrainian regions were under air raid alerts for about an hour after 2 a.m. local time. There was no immediate information about the scale of the attack. It came a day after Ukrainian officials reported more civilian casualties from Russian shelling in the country's east and south. In the eastern front line, Donetsk region, at least 3 civilians were killed and 17 wounded. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that fierce clashes continued in 3 areas in Donetsk, where it said Russia has massed troops and attempted to advance. It named the outskirts of 3 cities, Bakhmut, Liman, and Marinka, as frontline hotspots. The French government said on Sunday that hundreds more had been arrested amid a 5th night of rioting sparked by the police killing of a 17-year-old, as police deployed reinforcements to flashpoint cities around the country. Protesters, mostly minors, have torched cars, damaged infrastructure, and clashed with police in an outpouring of rage since an officer shot and held him point blank as he attempted to flee a traffic stop on Tuesday. The killing was captured on video, which spread on social media and fueled the anger over police violence against minorities, exposing severe racial tensions in France. A day after Nahel was laid to rest in his hometown near Paris, the Interior Ministry said police had made 719 arrests overnight, still a provisional tally after about 1,300 the previous night. Some 45 police officers or gendarmes were injured, 577 vehicles touched, 74 buildings set on fire, and 871 fires set in streets and other public spaces. And finally, on sports news, Britain's Savannah Marshall became the undisputed super middleweight champion with a majority decision points win over American Franchon Cruz Dizon at Manchester's AO Arena. The 32-year-old home fighter started slowly but landed the cleaner, heavier shots in a grueling yet fast-paced contest. The judges scored the fight 95-95, 99-92, and 97-93. After the fight, Marshall called for a rematch with Clarissa Shields. With American Shields in attendance and a vocal presence at ringside, Marshall said, "Thanks for coming over. Let's get it on." At super middleweight, Marshall, who won her 13th professional bout, suffered a devastating first career loss to beat her rival Shields in October. Former Arsenal, Barcelona and Chelsea midfielder Cesc Fabregas has announced his immediate retirement from football. The 36-year-old calls time on a career during which he won the World Cup with Spain, the Premier League twice at Chelsea, and La Liga with Barcelona. He ends his career 1 year into a 2-year contract with Italian club Como in Serie B. Fabregas says he will now move into dugout by coaching Como's reserve and youth teams. Fabregas joined Barca's LA Masia Academy age 10 in 1997, having progressed through the La Liga Giants youth setup. He played 212 Premier League matches and won the FA Cup with Arsenal between 2004 and 2011 before moving back to Barcelona. Following 3 years at the Nou Camp, he returned to the Premier League in 2014 with Chelsea, where he played just under 200 games. He made 68 appearances in 3.5 years with Monaco, but his playing time was limited by injuries before he moved to Como. Fabregas won 110 caps for Spain and also won the European Championship twice in 2008 and 2012, either side of lifting the country's first World Cup in South Africa. With that, we have come to the end of the Trust TV News Update. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and our YouTube live stream. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for watching and bye for now.